long here. Okay, pop up that piece from the Stanford Advocate, Will. And the only reason I kind of hesitate to bring this story up is because I only saw the story one place and I did not get a chance to verify it. And trust me, guys, I know I talk a lot of shit and I call white people niggas and, and do a lot of cursing and tell politicians to SMD and all that good stuff. But I am a journalist, God damn it. I promise you, I am not here to lead you astray. I am not here to broadcast any sort of misinformation. I am not here to set out information in order to validate my worldview or my perspective. Because fuck, if I'm wrong, then I just be wrong. I mean, it's worse shit than being wrong. You could be wrong, right? So anyway, my only reluctance in bringing this story is that I only saw it one place, okay? And it was this place. And why do I have hesitation? And I'm bringing the story anyway, but the reason I have hesitation is because I am a trained journalist, and the fact that this is a local story to me and I have not heard the story covered at all in local media gives me a little pause. I'm like, is this a fake story? I saw it posted on Twitter by somebody that I do consider credible. But again, I did not have an opportunity to verify the story from a secondary source. So, but I'm going to bring it to you anyway. And if I turn out to be wrong, then I will absolutely make corrections. Okay. But this was posted in the Stanford Advocate. And interestingly enough, the story is not pertaining to Stanford. I'm assuming Connecticut. But in fact, this was dated January 10th, 2023. And this is a story coming out of Northern Virginia. And the headline reads, Jury hears case alleging 4 cops enabled prostitution ring. Hmm? Oh, what's that? Oh, the cops knew about the sex trafficking ring. And what did they do? Oh, they showed up for their services. Oh, I see. This is the dateline is Alexandria, Virginia. And I have to tell you guys, I watch local news every single fucking day. I have not heard or seen a DC TV media outlet report on this. A woman who says that she was lured from Costa Rica into a Virginia based sex trafficking ring says that a former police chief and 3 other officers were clients of the enterprise and allowed it to operate. What? No. A federal jury in Alexandria, Virginia began hearing testimony Tuesday in the civil trial against the 4 officers, including Edwin Rossler, who is the former chief in Fairfax County, the state's most populous county. The woman, identified only as Jane Doe, worked under the supervision of Hazel Sanchez from 2010 until 2015. Sanchez was later convicted of running a commercial sex operation. Jane Doe said that Sanchez forced her into prostitution after luring her from Costa Rica with the promise of work as a nanny and a high-end escort who would go out on dates with wealthy clients but not necessarily be required to have sex with them. In reality, according to Sanchez's guilty plea, women were required to have sex with as many as 17 men a day. Oh my God. Including dangerous and degrading sex acts. Please pay sex workers, legalize sex workers, and legalize sex work and make that so well compensated. My God. Jane Doe says that the officers, here we go. Jane Doe says that the officers enabled her trafficking by allowing Sanchez's ring to operate, and that the police officers are well aware of the connections between trafficking and commercial sex operations. The lawyer for Rossler and James Baumstark, who is a former Fairfax County police captain, who is now deputy chief in Asheville, North Carolina, said the allegations against her clients are, quote, preposterous. Sure they are. It's made up out of whole cloth. What? Is that a what kind of phrase is that? It's made up out of whole cloth, said their lawyer, Kimberly Baucom. Damn, these Kims be giving Kims bad names. Rossler and Baumstark were not initially defendants in the lawsuit. Baucom says that they were added to the case after, only after, a disgruntled Fairfax officer who worked in sex trafficking cases came forward to Jane Doe's lawyer after the initial lawsuit received publicity. The initial accusations against Rossler accused him of seeking to thwart that office's sex trafficking probe. On Tuesday, for the first time publicly, Jane Doe's lawyer, whose name is Victor Glassberg, alleged that Rossler and Baumstark were also clients of Sanchez's operation. The lawyer said that the defendants, quote, covered up the Sanchez enterprise until Jane Doe went to the FBI and it was shut down. Only when they got the feds involved, right? And I'm sure even then, I'm sure the feds still went and extorted sex acts from some of these trafficked women. That is my opinion. I do not know that for a fact. Jane Doe went to the FBI in 2015 after she said she was finally able to escape from Sanchez. Jane Doe said that Sanchez controlled her by confiscating her passport and threatening to turn her into immigration authorities if she doesn't work as a prostitute. The FBI investigation resulted in the criminal case against Sanchez. The FBI also turned over its findings to Fairfax County Police, which led the investigate. I'm sorry, no, Fairfax County Police, which led to the resignations of the other two defendants, Michael Barbizet of Manassas, Virginia, who is a police lieutenant, and Jason Mardaco of Gainesville, who was a sergeant. The FBI investigation, how come this is not a criminal investigation? Why is this a civil case? The FBI investigation turned up emails and phone numbers connecting Barbizet and Mardaco to Sanchez. In Tuesday's opening statements, their lawyer, Heather Bardot, said that her clients acknowledging hiring Sanchez as a prostitute, but say that they had no knowledge of a wider operation run by Sanchez or that they even knew Jane Doe. All four defendants questioned Jane Doe's credibility. They say that she was never trafficked, but was in fact engaged in sex work consensually. They cite the fact that Jane Doe continued to do sex work for a year after she said that she escaped from Sanchez. Fuck you. Oh, so we're slut shaming sex trafficking victims now. That sounds very on brand and par for the course. Attorney Glassberg acknowledged that Jane Doe continued to engage in commercial sex work, but described it as survival sex. Yeah. Something that she did both because she knew no other way to make money independently, and because the man she married after leaving Sanchez forced her to do so. Lord, there is no winning for these women who are trafficked, and women and people, it's not just women, but in this case, specifically women. Lawyers on both sides told the jury that the case would hinge on the credibility of Jane Doe. Oh, Lord. Who is expected to testify. And I don't say, oh, Lord, because I have any doubts about this woman's credibility. I just know how sex workers are attacked and vilified. And that's in Northern Virginia, even though it's purpling, it's still kind of conservative. Oh, FYI, Fairfax, Virginia, for my people who might follow the area. Y'all remember Kevin Davis? That fucking punk motherfucker Kevin Davis used to be the police commissioner of Baltimore City. He is now the chief of police in Fairfax County. That's just a little information there. So this case is a civil case, and I will be keeping you guys updated about the outcome. But let us be clear here. In the UK, cops are outright raping people by the dozens, David Carrick. And here in Northern Virginia, the cops are, I, I won't say patronizing sex workers, because I don't think that that is in itself a problem. I don't think police should be patronizing sex workers so long as the sex work remains illegal, which I'm fairly confident in Northern Virginia, sex work is illegal. So if anything, I mean, I don't have a problem with consensual sex work and women and people who choose that line of work for themselves, not because they are coerced or forced into that kind of work. But the bottom line is the police absolutely knew, in my opinion, that a sex trafficking ring was happening in that area. They just did a story. They just did a story this week about the proliferation of how the Washington, D.C. area is a hotspot nationally for sex trafficking. And the area that they specifically highlighted was Northern Virginia. Yes, to the point that they estimated annually 40,000 people, women, girls, non binary folks, children, are sex trafficked in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area every year. Every year. So I hope Miss Doe gets what she's looking for. I'm not exactly clear on what she's seeking, because I don't think that this article mentions that, but I find it pretty interesting. Again, as much of a local news hound